one of the big changes that people are calling in to try about, if you didn't catch it on our last one, a big thing that is in that bill is stripping the courts of even more power to enforce things like their universal injunctions, which I don't even believe that they're universal injunctions. They're just injunctions. I don't know if that's the term that they even properly use to describe them. So don't know how much there is to actually update there. We're doing our weekly recap, seeing what's happened. A lot has happened. I'm sure there's other stuff here. We're going to go through this debate and see it. I saw a lot of other stuff that was like mostly drama. I didn't see a whole lot that was substantive. So we're just going to play this and see how it goes.
No one is talking about the fact that Republicans...
I do remember this guy from last time. He is dedicated, try hard, saying he's in the center, saying he's doing whatever, but he is just 100% bought, paid for. Maybe not bought, but just 100% on one side, and then just argues everything for it. Like this guy right here, kind of pretending, because that's the new shtick. You pretend you're in the center, and then you don't have to own the fact that you're on the right. You don't have to be vilified, but you can come in and you can kind of make all these points from, quote, good faith, even though you're lying the whole time, and then you never have to own a position. Don't know that that's for sure what he's doing, but I remember that from last time. This guy was pissing me off by being the...
Oh. Life insurers put life into the things you live for. Because life insurers...
Fuck me running. The non-skippable ads, too. Oh, come lay down. Come lay down. Just lay down, sweet girl. You're okay. You got food, you got water, you got everything you could possibly need.
And they say
that's fine that they can say that, but all they cried about for the last election was material. Like, so what do we
out the material conditions? And they say
that's fine that they can say that, but all they cried about for the last election was material. Like, so what are we supposed to believe? It was supposed to be the cost of everything was
no
too
one
high.
is the only person that really talked about this is Jordan Peterson. And what happened to Jordan Peterson?
Listen to this, too. Especially, I don't know if we've done an official review of it, but we may do it here soon. If anybody's seen the Jubilee conversation, it's Jordan Peterson versus 20 atheists, but it was supposed to be one Christian versus 20 atheists. But, of course, they can change the prompt and they can change and move the goalposts. This is somebody... It's funny to hear the names that people drop and try and defend when they are dedicated in the center, and then all the people that they drop and defend happen to have one political leaning.
Is he got ejected. Like, he got...
doesn't just talk about it. He's doing a lot of crazy shit.
What I'm saying is it shouldn't just be Jordan Peterson talking about meaning and trying to put some scaffold around what meaning is, right?
Yeah, this is the dumb person's intellectual, but this is the dumb person. Jordan Peterson is the dumb person's intellectual. This is that dumb person they talk about.
There should be more people talking about it. And Jordan Peterson has his own idiosyncratic ideas that aren't all
I don't
correct.
disagree with what you're saying. I'm not sure if politicians are the best place to get meaning from, because that's a...
No. So what I'm saying is it's the fact that academia and the elite and the establishment as a whole have not given people the words to talk about their crisis of meaning.
Yeah, but it's...
Giving people the words. Listen to this shit.
Yeah, I mean, usually doesn't come from... It usually comes from our culture, right?
No, a lot of the the articulation, the way that people talk about things, it comes from the top. It comes from the people that are having intelligent conversations about it. Like liberalism didn't come from the culture; it came from academia.
I could be wrong on this. I haven't studied this area, so I'm on very unsure ground. But like my guess would be more that
Me too.
That the culture dictates. So people that are making movies and music are probably going to be dictating what our conversations are more than somebody in an academic institution writing a paper about sociology or something.
But it comes from like those underground, like feminism came from underground academic conversations. Liberalism also, it came from like...
So what he's getting confused here, I think, is an origin versus a time thing. So yes, timing-wise, somebody probably had to have a conversation in academic situations in order for these things to be more fleshed out or taken seriously in more academic areas. But what Destiny is saying is that the origin is much more likely due in a percentage way to the culture that swings it. So songs or movies or things that strike a chord with people are much more convincing, or much more, at least when you're looking back, it kind of feels like they were, better representations of the time than any one individual piece, any one individual paper. But what this kid is now trying to say is, because the conversations may have happened beforehand, they have to be due. It's kind of like a correlation causation thing. Like, because these conversations were happening, and he's kind of referring to the nebulous conversation. Oh, well, these conversations were happening beforehand. one, were they? Do we know that for sure? Or are you just kind of saying it? And two, is it just people were talking about it at the time? So the same time the intellectuals were talking about it is the same time the artists were talking about it. People come to conclusions at the same time, especially if you see an event. I've definitely felt that with a lot of the modern stuff. When treasonous Trump does his thing, or it comes out with a new thing, or the Republicans do something, I'll have a response to it. I'll call it something. If I search Twitter long enough, I can find another person who's done it the exact same way, said the exact same thing. I think one of the first ones that I did, when Trump came into office and he just started the EOs, where it was very clear that he was just going to do the EOs to get stuff across. I made it a point to call it what it was, and I think I even said as much on Twitter or Blue Sky. Hey, by the way, we should just call this what it is. It's political blitzkrieg. You know, they're coming in, they're trying to break things fast, do all this stuff before anybody really knows what's going on, and you don't. By the time you actually do figure it out, you're in a really tough spot, and you actually can't do anything to fix your situation. So calling things what it is dope, and I'm glad I came up with that. But I checked Twitter for a day, and lo and behold, somebody comes up with the exact same phrase or two or three other ones that express the exact same point, but in a different way. So I think it's always important to remember that people do have these ideas kind of simultaneously, that these things do happen because the events are happening and humans are always trying to describe or understand their world. It is not uncommon for people to find similar ones, and him saying that, oh, it has to come from the intellectuals first, I just don't think, not that I would fight that hard on this point, but just to flesh out how I think here.
Like established institutions, right? And so a lot of that, like,
sure, but we're not, I mean, it might not,
this might not be
feminism or liberalism. We're talking about just kind of like narrative or purpose, right? It's a little bit different.
I mean, I don't know, because the feminism movement is what gave women the language and the articulation to say what their grievances were, and say it in an intelligent way, and say it in such a way that they got men on their side.
What do you think? Okay, what do you think it should come from?
I think it should come from academia. I think more people should have worked with Jordan Peterson, took him more seriously, and said, how do we articulate this lack of meaning? And because when there is nothing to articulate, then we're going to talk about economics. Then we're going to talk about economics. Like, of course. Because if
do you think Jordan Peterson was effective in his approach to academia, saying all of it was rigged and that he didn't trust?
I think Jordan Peterson was idiosyncratic, and he made a lot of blunders, and he was like.
You said that twice now, and I couldn't give you a firm definition, so I'm gonna look it up because I've definitely heard it. I want to make sure he's using it right, because I don't know if I would steer away from this word. Peculiar or individual.
Like, he was disagreeable with people, and he could have
in his approach to academia, saying all of it was rigged and that he didn't trust.
I think Jordan Peterson was idiosyncratic, and he made a lot of blunders, and he was disagreeable with people, and he could have been great, but he fumbled the bag. I think you go.
I think this guy thought that was a really good one. He thinks he can stand on the shoulders of, I wouldn't describe it, but he's standing on the shoulders of his giants and then just trying to come up with, oh, but it was this one blunder. I don't think it's
about 1 minute
blunder.
there, Benjamin.
Yeah, I think
I think it's much more likely an ideological issue that is the reason why people like Jordan Peterson can't engage honestly in that Jubilee conversation, because you knew if you did, you'd be buried.
I lost my train of thought.
My fault. Sorry.
Let me see if I.
You said Peterson fumbled the bag. I asked you because I feel like it's just so weird, because I feel like because Democrats are the only people who are willing to ever self-reflect, that Republicans are just unimpeachable when it comes to questioning motives or questioning understanding people. Because like Jordan Peterson would say that, like, well, all these trans people, they just want to make it so that they can compel me to speak about their pronouns in this way. And it's like, that's probably not really what most people care about, right? But like, so he's doing the exact same thing, but for some reason it's liberals that have to analyze ourselves for why we're so mean.
Yep, that is absolutely true. Remember, at the end of the day, liberals will tell you about how much we need to self-reflect and how much we need to change and how much we need to do. And then when it comes down to asking what the other side did to change, that I've gotten different answers and saying that they're changing up. If anything, they've doubled down. And then I've had people try and argue that that's a total restructuring, that things are going to be different. No, if anything, they've gotten significantly worse. And it's because they're doubling down on the things that they weren't able to get done in the first one. They're just putting in ways to get it done in this one. So putting new people in to accomplish this, a same exact goal, I don't know that I would call it any significant form of restructuring.
We don't have to analyze ourselves. We're in control of academia. That's why we have to do it. We're in control of any rational thought.
Sure, but like MAGA is literally, I would say metaphorically, before MAGA was opposed to academia. Now, literally, today, Trump is trying to destroy academia. So
this is the thing.
So you think Republicans are going to be...
We need to fix this. This is critical that we fix this.
Okay, but right now, Trump is trying to pull funding from places, and he's trying to blackmail places to get them to change their curriculum and everything. So
I don't like it, but I think if we don't do something about it, if we don't moderate,
so do you
there's going to be
but you think there's a path to redemption capitulating in the eyes of what he's trying to destroy?
I don't have time to get into it, but I do think there is a path to redemption, like a concrete one. But I think I'll end on, like, I was talking to Trey earlier today, and he was telling me about, like, he's a very successful guy. Like, he's got a job, he's got a family, he's just became a father, so congratulations to Trey. I think, and he talked to me about, like, he's got 2 houses, he's renting out one, and so it's like, but he feels the economic strain. And so how is someone like that, someone so successful, feeling economic strain, feeling rising grocery prices? How is he feeling that? And I think,
oh my God, listen to like the upsetness in this dude's voice. Not to say that like totally discredits it, but then when he's talking about somebody who owns a second property and then being struggling, like, it just shows how delusional this person is. And I think that's where maybe like the crying comes out to me. This person is actually fucking stupid. Like, somebody is self-manufacturing their own problems, and then he is like a bleeding heart for those self-manufactured problems.
It's because he feels like, and I think I feel this way, that what are we aiming toward? What are we angling toward as a society? Like, what is beyond just this material wealth? And it's and the thing is, of course, if you have enough money, you can create your own meaning. And so it's like when prices.
This guy, that's what it is. This guy is like the Jordan Peterson wannabe. He wants to have, like, I can even hear the inflection in his voice, the way he talks. He wants to have like the Jordan Peterson, like, sounds profound in every sentence, and this is how he's trying to accomplish it.
Just start going up when housing gets harder. It's not that we're struggling to survive. It's that it's eating into my ability to go beyond, to really become.
He's looking for a flourish.
To really tell a story that I'm proud of, and I think that those beyond me will be proud of. And I think that is something that we really need to think about more rigorously and try to give that language to everyone, so they can say something beyond just, I don't like inflation.
Okay.
This was literally pointless. I don't understand. Oh, overstimulated mama, what's up? We are going through arguments with Trump voters. This is a debate review. Destiny versus, I think he's doing the anti-Trump tour. This is the first installment, so we're just going over some debates. This guy was a Jordan Peterson simp. It's my fault for hopping on late.
Hey, how's it going?
But we're
What's happening?
We're listening.
Yeah.
Because big thing that we were looking at, I don't know, I'm sure you know, the big beautiful bill, all that garbage is coming through the Senate. And they don't know what the changes are going to be. They don't know if they're going to send it back to the House. They don't know if it's going to pass. They only need a simple majority, but some conservative senators have already talked about how they're not going to sign on to it as is, so there might be some changes. There's stuff hidden in there, I'm sure you know, that kind of further dismantles the power of the courts. So we haven't really talked about that. This is more how to discuss, how to argue against Trump supporters, how to break down the things that they say, and hopefully have it benefit our own lives.
So,
Pull your microphone.
sorry, yes, yeah, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, a lot of people have already made arguments that I'd come prepared with, but one thing that you said with
Yeah, overstimulated amount. Follow it as much as you can is like the perfect way to describe it now. I don't know if I talk about this enough, but one of the goals of this administration has been this kind of put too much in front of you so you don't really know what to do with it. So that has been a strategy for a long time, is to see if they can distract enough people with enough bullshit thrown at the screen so that it actually throws you off what you're supposed to be doing. So I heard some good advice the other day. It was a sociologist, and she was talking about how the best thing that you can do is not react right away. Kind of take a step back, take a breath before you see, because there's so much that's going to be hit at you. So kind of take a step back, find a community. So thank you for joining the stream, finding people that cover other issues and stuff like that, and covering 2 or 3 issues. Bella, hold on, I gotta go check my dog. But covering like 2 or 3 issues that you really, really care about, and not allowing yourself to get kind of overburdened with too many things. You just focus on like the 2 or 3 things that are really important to you.